gate code and go work on this beautiful Country Coach Affinity.
Nice looking digs here. This is RV technician flyout life here. Okay, rolling in.
For that, but now we're gonna sneak around that building and we're gonna go across the property line here.
All right. So what kind of a coach are you working on today?
It's gonna be a 2006 Country Coach Affinity.
He bought this coach new in 2005?
Yeah, he ordered it brand new from Country Coach. He was actually in the market. He had a Monaco something or other that he'd had a bunch of problems with. He thought about buying a Newell, and he thought about maybe Ford Travel or a Prevost conversion, and then he went to the factory and checked out Country Coach and thought, you know, these guys actually looks like they have their together, so I'll order a coach from him. And he ordered a coach and sat in the design center a couple times to come up with what he's got here.
Wow. What all work are you gonna do on this thing while you're out here? Great looking Country Coach, man. That thing is sick.
So I'm here because he's had a continuous problem with his slide room going in, and then I'm gonna check his fan continuously runs, and then I'm gonna do some upgrades on the LED lighting and the awnings, and then just some general check on tank levels that aren't working and so on and so forth.
Okay, real quick, while Brian's finishing up some work, I'm gonna give you guys just a sneak peek inside of this sick Country Coach Affinity. I think this is Brian's favorite coach, and he's doing all kinds of work here. It's got that pattern going with the floor, and I really, really like this blue trim around like a gray, almost like a, I don't even know how to describe this leather, but super cool, super high-end leather couches here. It's got the flames in the cabinets here, kitchen, and he's even got the blue flames in the backsplash. That is super cool. Love the ceilings in these Affinities. Such a high-end coach. Such a oh, he's got flames on the showers too. Super nice flames on the backsplash back here. Some Ugg boots there. And this guy's in racing. Brian hangs out with a lot of the guys in the racing crowd. So there he is. There's a guy right there. Extra charge if he has to climb on the ladder. So Brian did a sick LED lighting package on this coach. I'll show you a quick picture that the owner posted on his Instagram. Super cool coach. So Brian, talking about LED lighting packages, that's something that you get into a lot. I know your work. I'm going to let Brian work right now. He's focusing on his work, but we're going to ask him about LED lighting in just a moment. So I've got to point out on this paint job, it's got the ghosting from the blue to the white, and then the silver pinstripes as well. Man, they really did a good job with the design on this paint job over at Country Coach with the big blue flames. Brian, what is someone looking at to do like an LED lighting package, like just an awning like that? Typically, you know, without travel expenses and all that, what's typical cost?
Oh, you're looking at about $500 for the installation per awning, and then it's about half of that for your second awning because you're already there, and then you've got about 200 bucks in parts. So between 700 and 1,000 bucks if you've got two awnings.
The big, that's the full patio awnings, and it just lights it up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was talking about how, you know, the veteran technicians have all kinds of little tricks and knowledge to save time. Am I allowed to show this little Country Coach part you have here? So when Country Coach had the auction, Brian knew all of the really important stuff to buy. Here in the back of my car, this is designed to be able to test the some system from the back of the coach, but basically this can be plugged in and then Brian sets all that up. But this is just a weird tool that was basically created. They built it at Country Coach and they used it to make their process more efficient. And when the Country Coach auction was going on, how did that all play out, buddy?
Well, it played out pretty good for myself. I ended up with a bunch of the electrical department, and then a couple of my buddies ended up with whole coaches, and so then we ended up finished building those coaches, and it all ended up getting dialed in.
This Country Coach really is. This is probably the coolest paint job. Brian, so this is your favorite Country Coach ever?
Yes, I mean the paint job is my favorite ever. I mean, I ride red Hondas, but I do like the color blue, and this coach pops. I mean, it's where the goods are at.
Absolutely. So what all, so you flew down here from Oregon, spending a couple days getting everything dialed in for this guy?
Yep, exactly. Just taking care of a few things like tank sensors that had just come unstuck, so got some new adhesive for that. And then added in the roof awnings for him, get him all dialed in with the newest, latest, greatest.
In a minute, I'm going to tell you guys how you can get a hold of Brian if you have a high-end coach like this and you want to hire him for a fly-out service. I'll tell you about that. But before that, I want to tell you why you should hire someone like Brian. I was recently talking to a friend of mine, and there's just so many different levels of RV technicians. I got to see this coach in the sunlight here. This is such a nice coach. We're going to give you a nicer background to look at why babble about hiring a skilled technician. So you can either hire a technician that's going to maybe charge you $150 an hour, and because they built these coaches, they're going to be able to get that work done in, say, 2 hours. You may be able to find a cheaper technician that saved $90 an hour that doesn't have as much experience, and they may end up spending 8 hours to get that same job fixed. So by hiring someone like Brian that built these coaches, has decades and decades of experience, you may pay a higher hourly rate, but a lot of the times you're going to save money in the long run. So I definitely recommend a very important part about RV ownership is finding the right mechanic. I definitely recommend my buddy Brian. There's also a lot of other great people out there, but for this customer is definitely winning, because just to move this coach, the coach is right here at its house where it's stored, and this really is the real deal. This is probably the cleanest 07 Country Coach Affinity that I've seen, and I love the colors with the silver and blue flames. I can't believe that this paint job was brand new, but definitely worth it, you know, for him to move this coach, take it up somewhere where there is a skilled technician is really expensive. So by him hiring Brian, it's just saving him a bunch of money. So Brian, how do you bill, like when you're doing work like this? How do you bill for it?
So it's billed out as expenses plus travel time. So if you're, depending on where you're at, depends on how much your airfare costs to get me in. And then we end up, if the customer picks me up or how close it is to the airport, we figure out if we're doing Uber or rental car, or if the client's coming to pick me up. And then we charge, basically you get 1 day's work for a full day at like about $1,000, and then you have $500 a day for travel. So you're looking at basically $2,000 plus whatever it costs for airfare to get me out there.
Okay. You can get a lot of stuff done in a day though, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean, I come in, you pre-send me the list, I go over the list, make sure I have all the materials and the tools that it's gonna take, and then get in there and hustle and get the job done. I mean, that's the difference, is if you can get it done in 10, 15, 20 minutes compared to dropping it off and guys spending hours on it and this and that, where when you bring in a guy that actually knows what he's doing, he can get that hustling in there and get that done. And then you don't have to take it and drop it off or anything, you know. You get to have it all done at your house. You don't have to worry about it getting damaged and coming back to you with a different color paint panel on it and so on and so forth, you know.
How far out do you usually book? Like, how far in advance does someone usually need to make an appointment with you?
Well, you know, I like to at least, usually like we like to do about a month, so that way you're not getting reamed on the airfare and whatnot. Kind of try to keep your expenses down for the overall circle of it. But if you have an emergency case, I mean, you know, 48 hours or a week, we could get out there and get it taken care of, but usually a month is good. Right now things are kind of hopping.
So Brian, you're just getting these final little details checked out?
I am getting ready to climb up on the ladder and just put some nice white electrical tape on there to kind of secure the wires, keep it nice and white on the lines, and get it all dialed in. It's getting nice and warm here. Get the sweatshirt off, enjoy this AZ weather before I go back to Oregon tonight.
Yep. So Brian, if someone has a country coach like this, they want to get on the list for a fly-out service, how can they get a hold of you?
BrianMoto773 at Gmail is going to be your first step. drop me an email there. Be patient. It may take a day or two, but I'll get back to you as I mow through all of them and get on there, and then I'll get back to you, and then we can start a contact after that.
Can't thank you enough for sharing this with me and the folks on YouTube. Appreciate all of you out there liking these videos and subscribing to the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Thanks again.